Good morning, children. Today we are going to do an important part of your question paper that can help you score good marks but can also reduce your marks drastically. The topic is Precis Writing. This is applicable for both ICSC as well as ISC classes. Only difference is in ICSC you have to write the Precis of 50 words, and in ISC you have to write the Precis of 100 words. Now, what is a Precis? A Precis is a French word which means summary. It is connected with the English word as precise, specific. Its pronunciation is Precis. In simple terms, Praysee. This is just for your understanding. A Precis is a gist of a passage in as few words as possible. So what is there in a Precis? You will be given a passage. The passage may be of 200 words or maybe of 300 words, and they will ask you to write a Precis or to reduce it or to write a summary of the passage in 50 words or 100 words. A Precis should be written in your own language. Doesn't mean that Precis is to be written in your mother tongue. In your own language means the sentences must be formed by you, obviously in English. A Precis needs intensive brain work. Why does it require brain work? Because you must understand the passage properly and then try to find out the important points from the passage and then write down those points, concise, edit, remove words, sentences, include conjunctions to form a paragraph which would be termed as the Precis. ICSC Precis you will have to write in 50 words. Note this because earlier it was 60 words, now on it is 50 words. Similarly, ICSC Precis you have to write in 100 words. Marks that you can achieve in a Precis. Now, what is the total marks that is there for the Precis question? A Precis question in ISC as well as ICSC is of 8 marks. ICSC 8 marks, that is 6 plus 2. ISC 8 marks, 6 plus 2. Now 6 is for the points. Mostly 6 to 8 points are required in your Precis to get these 6 marks. 2 marks is for the expression. If you are able to identify and write all the 6 to 8 points in your Precis, here points means the keywords which I will discuss later, you will get 6 out of 6 in the Precis. 2 marks on expression can be lost on grammatical errors, spelling errors, etc. So you have to be careful when you're writing your Precis. Writing down the points ensures 6 marks. But to get 8 out of 8, your Precis must be grammatically correct and no spelling errors. Important points to write a Precis. What you should remember to get good marks in your Precis question. Use your intelligence. As I told you earlier, based on the question, you will identify the part of the passage that the Precis is asking for. Now, once you have identified the part, you will have to write down the points which are required in your Precis. Next, you will be removing those points which are not that relevant from these points. And finally, when you have finalized all the points, you have to write it down in the form of a paragraph in 50 or 100 words. Clarity in writing. Your writing should be clear and not confusing to the reader. Like if we are covering a passage which has A, B, C, D places where a person visits. So when you write the précis, you will follow the same sequence. A, then B, then B, C, then D, and not D, B, A, C, and so on and so forth. Grammatically correct. Your précis should be grammatically correct. There should not be any grammatical mistakes, punctuation mistakes, spelling mistakes, etc. Connectivity of points. Now, when you write down the sentences or the points initially, they are basically a collection of sentences. You have to write the précis in such a way that they should not look like a collection of sentences. They should be rather in the form of a paragraph. Should cover all important points related to the question. The précis should cover all the points that the question is asking for. The entire précis should be in the same tense. So if you're writing the précis in past tense, the entire précis has to be in past tense. What to look for? When you're writing a précis, how will you identify the keywords? What are the keywords which you need to include in your précis to get full marks? It depends on the question. Look for verbs and adverbs when the précis question asks you to summarize actions from the passage. So you will look for verbs and adverbs as keywords when there is an action which the précis is asking for. Now, for example, write in 50 words for ICSE, 100 words for ISC, how the students were taught in the new school. So here you are going to basically summarize actions which were taken to teach the students in the new school. Second condition, look for adjectives when the précis question asks you to describe a person or thing, etc. Now let us consider an example. Write in 50 in ICSE, 100 words in ISC, the character of Tom in the passage. So in the passage you will search for all the character traits of Tom, which will be adjectives, and then write down those points in the form of points, and then remove the unimportant parts and write down your précis. Now another case. If the question asks you to summarize the passage, so the question has asked you to summarize the entire passage. First thing you will do is identify the key ideas in the passage and underline them. For example, say the passage is on education of girl child. So one of the key ideas is education of girl child. Delete repetitive ideas. So if you find in the passage some ideas are being repeated, you will delete or omit them from your points. Theme of the passage should be reflected. So in the précis, the theme of the passage has to be mentioned. Now this slide is quite important. It will help you writing your précis based on the various types of questions that are asked. How to begin a précis. Read the passage properly and identify the section which refers to the question, précis question. Now see, a comprehension is all about reading. If you don't pay attention while reading the comprehension, it will be very difficult for you to identify the answers of the normal questions, the meanings, as well as the précis. So read the passage properly at least 2 to 3 times before coming to the questions. Sometimes précis sentences with the keywords are scattered across the passage. Identify them and keep underlining with pencil. Now it can happen like in the passage, find out what mischiefs the boy had done. Now the passage may be the description of the boy, so his mischiefs can begin from the first line and may also be mentioned in the last line. So you must read the passage, identify the keywords. Keywords here will be the mischiefs, and you will be underlining them. Write down all the sentences you identified in the above 2 points. So now first thing you're going to do is, once you have underlined in the passage, you're going to write these points like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, in your answer script, point wise in sequence in your answer script. So you'll write it point wise, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In sequence means first point will be the first thing that he had done, second point will be the second thing that he had done, and so on and so forth. At least 8 to 10 sentences. For example, you have identified the following sentences from a passage. So this is an example which actually doesn't refer to 50 words or 100 words, just for your understanding. Suppose you have read a passage and you have identified few points. First point is Henry Louis Vivian Derozio went into the train. Second point you identify, he spoke to the ticket collector. Third point, he sat on his berth. Next point is, he was reading a book. The first chapter was very interesting. So you have identified, for example, 4 points or 4 sentences. Now, how to begin? We will continue with that. Eliminate repeated words, unimportant points. For example, if you have got 6 to 7 verbs, eliminate the adverb sentences. Merge the 6 to 8 sentences into a paragraph, ensuring proper connectivity and grammar. Connectivity, you will be using conjunctions, and remember, articles are important. If you remove articles to reduce the word count, there will be grammatical mistakes. Now here you can see I have tried to reduce words from the passage which I have created using the sentences I had identified from the passage. So I have removed Henry Louis Vivian because the name Derozio refers to the same person. Now I've included the first verb went, second verb spoke, third verb sat, fourth verb reading. Now what have I removed? First I have removed Henry Louis Vivian, which was not required because by reading the name Derozio, the reader understands I'm referring to the same person. Then, and sat down on his berth. Down can be removed because when you're sitting, you're actually sitting down on your berth. He was reading a book. Fine. The first chapter was very interesting. Not required. It does not carry any verbs, so it can be removed. Again, this is just an example and it differs from case to case from different passages and the exact question asked in the Precis. Now next, how are you going to write? You will prepare two grids. For ICSE it will be 5 into 10 and for ISC it will be 5 into 20. So there will be 5 columns and 10 lines or 20 lines as per your case, ICSE or ISC. In the first grid, write down, now you have prepared two grids. So what have you done first? First you have done is, you have noted down the points. If you remember, we have done it in the last slide, the points 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you have noted it down in your answer script, the next thing you're going to do is write a rough of all the points and eliminate the words which I have removed, as you can see in this yellow part. Yellow scripts rather, text. Next, you will be drawing two grids. In the first grid, you will write down in pencil the rough draft. So whatever you have written here in yellow script, you will write it in the first grid, which will be marked as a rough draft. Next, see if your paragraph fits in 50 words for ICSE and 100 words for ISC. So whatever you have written in this grid, see if it fits 50 words or 100 words. If not, suppose it is going beyond 50 words or going beyond 100 words, whatever the case might be, ICSE or ISC. So if not, edit a sentence or remove some words, most important, without changing the meaning of the sentence and without omitting the keywords. So in this way, you're going to reduce the word count so that it fits into the required words of the Precis. How to enter your text in the grid? I'm talking about the final grid. Draw a grid. Now what is a grid? It is in ICSE 5 columns, 10 rows, and we form a checker box and enter our text in it. ICSE ideal grid will be 5 into 10, that is 5 columns and 10 lines is equal to 50 words. ISC ideal grid will be 5 into 20, that is 5 columns and 20 lines, that is 100 words. Select the paragraph you created in the earlier slide. So whatever you have finalized as your rough draft or fair draft, that you will select. Write one word in one cell. This is important. You have to write only one word in one cell of this grid. Next is, every single letter like a is considered to be one word. So you are not going to write two words in one box when there is a single word along with another word. Punctuation marks should be included along with the preceding word. Next, what? A few things to note and remember. You will not overshoot 50 words or 100 words. The examiner will only check up to the word limit, and any word or words which may contain keywords beyond the word limit will be ignored, resulting in you losing marks. So if your Precis is going beyond 50 words, the examiner will read only up to 50 and simply cancel the rest words. So any keyword that is there after 50 words, that will not be counted and you will not get marks for that. Your rough draft and fair draft Precis has to be in a grid. If not written inside a grid, you will lose marks. Please note this, because we have seen Many students just simply write it in the form of a paragraph. You are going to lose marks in the boards for that. Where you generally lose marks in expression. Now, I had explained what is expression. Where do you lose marks in expression? How many marks are allocated to expression? 2 marks. So let's see. Number 1, spelling mistakes. Any spelling mistake in the Precis will result into loss of marks. Grammatical mistakes. Any grammatical error in the passage, each one will be counted and you will be losing marks for each. Article errors. Use of articles, a and the, all these articles. If missing, you will lose marks. Or if incorrect, you will lose marks. Punctuation errors. Full stop and commas, colon, semicolon, exclamation mark, question mark, all are important in your Precis. You cannot eliminate them. Tenses error. As I told you, your entire Precis has to be in one tense. A sentence in past, another sentence in present, and another sentence in future will result in losing marks. Points to remember when you are writing a Precis. Copy the points directly from the passage before preparing your rough draft. If you remember, we had noted down the points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 before we began with our draft. Those points you can simply pick from the passage itself, word by word. Correct sequence of points to be maintained. What happened after what, and then what, and then what. You have to maintain the sequence. Do not break the grid into 2 pages. Half of the Precis is on one page and the other half is on the other page. Should not be done. Make the grid on a fresh page. Preferably, you should do the entire Precis in a grid on a fresh page. Avoid overwriting in the grid. You have already done the rough draft in a grid with pencil. Once you have finalized that, in the fair grid, fair Precis, there should be no cutting, no overwriting. Do not try to befool the examiner by writing 2 words in one cell. Do not try this. This will irritate the examiner and also will increase your word count, resulting into loss of marks. Do not exceed the word limit. I'm repeating this again and again. Do not exceed 100 words or 50 words, because beyond that the examiner is not going to read, and if that part contains a keyword, you're going to miss that. Do not commit errors so as to lose the 2 marks on expressions. Do not do spelling errors, grammatical errors, article errors, tenses errors, and lose these 2 marks which are allocated for expression. Now we will refer to the ICSC 2020 English language paper. This is the comprehension that was asked in the paper. I have attached this as a PDF along with the video in your WhatsApp groups. So you may download and read this passage, or you may read the passage as I scroll down. Now we will concentrate on two questions. The first question is the word meanings. Now there are three words: assigned, ideal, and independent. Now let us read the question. Give the meaning of the following words as used in the passage. Mark the word as used in the passage. What does this line mean? It means you have to remember the form of the word in which it has been used in this passage. If the if the word is used as an adverb, your meaning will be in adverb. If it is the noun form of the it's a verb form of the word, your answer will also be verb form. Now let us look at assigned on line number 3. Okay, here is assigned. Now let us read this paragraph. Attending classes inside a railway carriage seemed unusual enough, but the seating arrangements turned out to be unusual too. At Toto Chan's previous school, each pupil were assigned a specific desk. So what do you understand by the meaning, by the word assigned? Maybe a place which is given to you, or allotted, right? Or allocated, or given. So the word assigned will have the meaning allocated, allotted, given, or given for a specific purpose. What was the second word? The second word is ideal. Now let us look where it's line number 19. Where is line number 19? Yeah. It was an ideal way for teachers to really get to know their pupils. So what would the meaning of ideal here mean? It would be perfect, the best possible, appropriate, flawless, best, most appropriate, most suitable, or excellent. Then we move on to the third word, and that is independent. Independent is line number 24. Here is line number 24. So, study was mostly independent, with pupils free to go and consult the teachers. So, independent here would mean what? Free, not needing any help, self-directed, without any help, self-reliant, without assistance, or on his or her own. Only thing you should remember, independent, like again, the verb form will have a verb form meaning, adverb will have an adverb meaning, and so on and so forth. Now, independent, the meaning which I said was free. It cannot be freedom, because freedom is the meaning of independence. You have to keep this in mind. Now let us see the answers as I have discussed just now. Okay. So give me, okay. You can also use short phrases if required, but preferably use single word synonyms. Assigned is allotted, given for a particular purpose, given or allocated. Ideal means perfect, the best possible, appropriate, flawless, best, most appropriate, most suitable, and excellent. Coming to the next word, independent. It means free and not freedom, not needing or wanting help, separate, self-directed, without any help, self-reliant, without assistance, on his or her one's own. Now, with this, we have completed the word meaning section. Now, we go back to the ICSE paper again. We will be now, since we have done Precis Writing, we will be concentrating on this question, that is 4C. In not more than 50 words, describe how the children were taught. So it is of how many marks? 8 marks. And we know out of this, 6 marks are for the points and 2 marks are for expression. So how are you going to plan this answer? Based on the class, you will write down the points from the passage that are relevant for the Precis, and then on you will make a rough draft and a fair draft, and this will be your assignment. You know how to do or how to write a Precis, so don't get scared. Try your best. So for the Precis, what you're going to do is you will find out the points important for the Precis, write a rough Precis, and then write a fair Precis. And by evening today, I will post the points which were to be there if you want to get 8 out of 8 in your Precis. Now, once you get those points, you can tally with the Precis that you have written. Use a red pen to mark the points and give yourself marks in 2 steps. First, count how many points you have mentioned. So give yourself marks out of 6 for this, and look for grammatical errors and give yourself marks out of 2 for this. And then on, check how much did you get out of 8 in your Precis. With that, we come to the end of this class. I'm sure you've understood how to write a Precis and also how to identify the meanings of the words asked from the comprehension. Thank you so much. Stay blessed.